In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The leader in talk radio on the internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? America Off the Rails has been declared a conservatives-only safe zone. Only conservatives allowed from this point forward. Any liberal, socialist, butthurt, hippie, tree huggers, please exit the facility immediately. Again, attention please. America Off the Rails is now designated as a conservative safe zone only. All butthurt, tree-hugging, hippie, free-to-be, you and me types exit the facility immediately. Thank you.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Oh, welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Don't expect us to admit a mistake. We're paying off election debts to those on the take. Attorney General's lying even while
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
Training wheels back on. So because of that, we're going to do things a little bit differently tonight for a couple of reasons. Some of you are already familiar with these folks. They have been a parody band with JD and Stacy now for quite some time.
A long, long time ago, I can still remember how that bandwidth used to make me smile. And anything I wished to see, it was just between I and me, without some a-hole up in D.C. crimping my style. But February made me shiver. The FCC on threats delivered. Regulations were adopted. Our freedoms were accosted. I can't remember if I cried when I read of rules we must abide, of legislation that wasn't looked inside, the day the Google died. So bye-bye to the internet, guys. Plugged my PC in with AC, but the bits were all fried. And don't you know the vote passed on party lines, singing we're all watching liberty die. We're all watching liberty die. Do you believe he loved all along a nation he found fundamentally wrong? If the media tells you so. And do you believe in all the tales of Lois Lerner's lost emails? Or that Benghazi was caused by a video on YouTube? Well, I know McConnell's a statist tool, and his pale boners and orange fool, between them that was fine. Caving to POTUS every time. Woo, I was an exhausted pauper of middle years, with taxes and bills to drive me to tears, and a commander-in-chief confirming my worst fears the day the Google died. I started singing bye-bye to the internet, guys. Plugged my PC in with AC, but the bits were all fried. And don't you know the vote passed on party lines, singing we're all watching liberty die. We're all watching liberty die. Now for 6 years we've been on our own. The Constitution's a shredded tome, but that's not how it used to be. When the Beyonce sang for the emperor, and champagne it ran onto the floor with a price tag paid by you and me. Oh, and while SCOTUS was on its ass, Obamacare was allowed to pass. The chief judge changed the law. A blasphemy we all saw. And while the POTUS read a book on Marx, Brian Williams dodged rockets in the dark, and Bill Clinton flew to Pedo Park the day the Google died. We were singing bye-bye to the internet, guys. I plugged my PC in with AC, but the bits were all fried. And don't you know the vote passed on party lines, singing we're all watching liberty die. We're all watching liberty die. I watched Lady Liberty sing the blues, and I asked her for some happy news, but she just smiled and turned away. I went down to the Apple store where I'd bought my gadgets years before, but the man there said my apps, they wouldn't play. In cyberspace, innovators screamed, the public cried, and the statist dreamed. The Constitution just a token, the internet, it was not broken. And the branches I would like to see, they don't include the FCC. Constitution says works for you and me. The day the Google died. So bye-bye to the internet guys. Plugged my PC in with AC, but the bits were all fried. And don't you know the vote passed on party lines, singing we're all watching liberty die. We're all watching liberty die. We were singing bye-bye to the internet guys. Plugged my PC in with AC, but the bits were all fried. And don't you know the vote passed on party lines, singing we're all watching liberty die.
All right, folks. Well, that was the Third Rail Ramblers. Again, the adopted parody group for the entire the Spark Radio Network crew. You may know them as Al and Beaker on Twitter. If you're not following them, you're doing something wrong. Do it now. Do it now. They're awesome. They're amazing. And you can hear their talent, which is why I let the whole thing play. I wasn't planning on it. I was going to let it play for like a minute or so, get my feet back under me. But then the more I listened to it, the more I sunk into it. And the cool thing about it is it actually worked out pretty well because, you know, this is our first live shows of 2016. There was a pretty good recap of a lot of last year right there in that song. So, that's another reason why I decided to let it play. Anyway, you are back. We are live. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson, and we do have a lot of folks hanging out and listening right now, getting some feedback from some of you through Twitter. I also know some of you are hanging out on the website chat room right now. I do apologize. I'm having some latency issues, so I'm not able to join you, but I promise if you shoot me a tweet or send me a smoke signal, I might eventually see it. But anyway, so we have a lot to talk about tonight. There's been a lot of things that have gone on in the last couple of weeks. So many that it's hard to keep up. And which is another reason why I decided to let the whole song play, because there's a little undertone in there. And if you notice it, it's kind of a lot of the things that we're going through right now. It seems like we are slowly watching liberty die. The president has had a big hand in a lot of that, and so has Hillary Clinton. We're going to get to a lot of that tonight because, of course, there's been the thing that he's been threatening to do now for the last, 2, 3, 4, 7 years, the gun control through executive order. You know, all the things that, you know, he kept saying when he was running for president and then running for re-election, all the things that he said he couldn't do because he wasn't an emperor, and yet now he's done them. Anybody else noticing that, or is it just me? Just asking. All right, so actually, let's start with that, I guess. Let me get a couple things queued up here. Let's listen to just a snippet of our Commander-in-Chief and a speech that he made. I believe it was Tuesday.
Our right to peaceful assembly. That right was robbed from moviegoers in Aurora and Lafayette. Our unalienable right to life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, those rights were stripped from college kids in Blacksburg and Santa Barbara, and from high schoolers at Columbine, and from first graders in Newtown. First graders. And from every family who never imagined that their loved one would be taken from our lives by a bullet from a gun. Every time I think about those kids, it gets me mad. And by the way, it happens on the streets of Chicago every day. So, all of us need to demand a Congress brave enough to stand up to the gun lobby's lies. All of us need to stand up and protect its citizens. All of us need to demand governors and legislators and businesses do their part to make our communities safer.
All right, so there you heard our commander-in-chief basically throwing your Second Amendment rights right out the window. In case you're not following along, the home edition of this game features the fact that he's basically, while he's calling the gun lobbyist liars, the White House's Twitter account Tuesday, tweeted out that that they had now made sure that you couldn't purchase guns illegally on the internet. Because everybody knows you can go right on the internet to www.buybfg.com and just go in. There's a little window, but to get there you have to click 3 times, then you have to hit backspace, then you have to hit escape, then you have to click 3 more times. And then once you've done all that, you just go right in there and you type in whatever you want, and it turns your printer automatically into a 3D printer. So all you got to do is hit print, and every gun or every piece of ammunition you've ever wanted just comes right out of your printer. No background checks, no traceability, none of the above. I'm sorry, I'm acting like an idiot, but so's this guy. If you really think that anything that he has just done is going to make anybody in this country any safer other than the criminals, then you're not paying attention. Look at the statistics. The cities with the strictest gun laws, the harder it is to get a weapon, the more that it just turns out the people that don't really give a damn what the laws are the ones that get the weapons. Look what happened in Paris. They have all these really strict, crazy strict gun laws, and yet they just shot up a movie theater. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of America. It probably wasn't a movie theater. It's probably like an opera house or something. But the whole point is they shot up a theater. And how did they do that? Because nobody in the crowd was armed. Anybody want to snap back to World War II for a second? When the Emperor of Japan, when his admirals and generals and everybody else came to him and said that Your Majesty, we need to invade America. We do not have a choice. Now that we've managed to hit them in Hawaii, we must push further. He looked at them, and this is probably at least as good of a quote as you can get. Basically looked at them and said, "You're crazy, because behind every blade of grass will be an American with a gun." There is a reason the Second Amendment exists. There is a reason that it is one of those things that says shall not be infringed. Shall not. Not, well, we'll just, for that guy who's just a little different than the rest of us, or he's got red hair. So red hair means you're automatically crazy, right? So yeah, you can't get a gun. Or look, that guy's got freckles. Everybody knows that anybody that has red hair and freckles, they don't have souls. So we can't give them guns. I mean, look. It's one of those situations where you're either free or you're not. If we bother to start looking, I hazard to think that if you really open your eyes and look, you're going to realize that at this point we are more not than free. Does it pain me to say that? Yes, very much so. I still think this country has the capability to be the best country in the world. But we are completely losing sight and losing track of that fact because we're too busy worried about keeping everybody safe and wrapping everybody in bubble wrap. And nobody can get hurt anymore. And come on, look at all of the things that happened in our past. The chances that people took to make this country great. And now you can't even risk anything, because if you risk anything at all, then you're just not being American anymore. You can't risk yourself. You can't put anything on the line because it's un-American to take any chances. That's exactly how these people think. It is un-American to do the things that we have done in our past to make this country great. We can't do those things today. We can't. They won't allow us to. Because it's not fair, and it's not safe, and it's not good for you. And that's exactly how they think. The scary thing is there is this legal doctrine that at some point, if there is proof that an individual is not able to think well enough for their own, then there is a duty for the state to act as that person's parent. I have been terrified about that legal doctrine from the day that I knew it existed, because I knew that days like this were coming. Because we now have folks like Chris Rock, who a few years back said that the president and the first lady were basically our parents and we needed to listen to them. Now we have a president who for years told us, well, I can't do those things as much as I would like to do those things because I'm not a dictator. And now he's doing them because, you know, he can't be an emperor, but now he's the emperor with no clothes, not new clothes. I know they're one and the same, but bear with me here, folks. It boggles my mind to watch this country unraveling in the way that it is. And then we have a party that's basically trying to feed on itself. I mean, since when is it a crime to stand up for your principles? I mean, the only thing that these executive orders are eventually going to do is make it to where everybody who's not a liberal is going to wind up being a criminal. And I don't mean liberal in the sense of your political beliefs. I'm talking about to the point where you feel like that everything that you own belongs to somebody else and they should be able to come in and take it whenever they want. Because there are people that really feel that way. And those people are now running this country. If you don't believe me, look at the direction that things have gone in the last, 7 years, almost 8 years? God, is this term really almost over? Can we please just pray for just a moment that he doesn't do anything crazy at the very end of it to hang on to power? Because I don't know at this point. I'm just ready for him to get out. I'd almost even be willing to vote for Trump to get him out. Ugh. I said almost. Don't give me that look. All right. Anyway, so the other thing I really wanted to kind of touch on for a second, but I'll probably, I was going to say wait till we get back from the break, but I forgot we got a late start. So let's do this, because the other part of the story will probably, or the other story I want to talk about will probably take longer. I want to talk a little bit about Miss Hillary Clinton. And there's a reason I want to talk about that, because it'll dovetail into the rest of the thing that we're going to, or the rest of the story we're going to talk about when we come back from break. But here's a little clip of her most recent closing statement from the Democratic debate in hiding. You know, the one that nobody watched because nobody knew what channel it was on, nobody knew what time it was going to start, and of course, as usual, it was on a Saturday. So basically, the Golden Girl debate part 2.
On January 20th, 2017, the next president of the United States will walk into the White House. If, heaven forbid, that next president is a Republican, I think it's pretty clear we know what will happen. A lot of the rights that have been won over years, from women's rights to voter rights to gay rights to worker rights, will be at risk. Social Security, which Republicans call a Ponzi scheme, may face privatization. Our vets may see the VA hospital that needs to be improved and made better for them turned over to privatization. Planned Parenthood will be defunded. The list goes on because the differences are so stark. You know, everybody says every election's important, and there's truth to that. This is a watershed election. I know how important it is that we have a Democrat succeed President Obama in the White House. And I will do all that I can in this campaign to reach out and explain what I stand for and what I will do as president. You know, I became a grandmother 15 months ago, and so I spent a lot of time thinking about my granddaughter's future. But as president, I will spend even more time thinking about the futures of all the kids and the grandchildren in this country, because I want to make sure every single child has a chance to live up to his or her God-given potential. If you will join me in this campaign, we will make that a mission. Thank you, good night, and may the force be with you.
Okay, so that's enough of that. Now, you heard the whole thing. I'm going to kind of back this up a little bit and take a couple things point by point. Bear with me for just a sec.
On January 20th, 2017, the next president of the United States will walk into the White House. If, heaven forbid, that next president is a Republican, I think it's pretty clear we know what will happen. A lot of the rights that have been won over years, from women's rights.
All right, so let's hang on right there. So she's basically just thrown down the gauntlet and said that if a Republican is elected president, women's rights will be set back Their favorite line is to about 1950. Yet this is the party that supports Sharia law and Muslims. So basically, it's not okay for us to say all we really want you to do is to make sure that abortion is used as outlined in the Roe v. Wade decision, which is that it is available, but that it is safe, legal, and rare. Not there's an abortion clinic on every corner. Oh, God forbid that would set back women's rights. But you espouse a group that basically allows their followers to marry small children, to force them to do things that small children shouldn't have to do, but we are the ones that are going to set back women's rights. Let's let her keep talking, shall we?
To voter rights, to gay rights, to work.
Okay, so gay rights. Let's bring that one up. Again, you guys are wanting us to bring in a boatload of Muslim refugees. Last I checked, Muslims don't like gay people. See, we don't mind gay people. We don't care that you're gay. We just really don't want to have to hear about it all day, every day. And we're tired of you allowing this vocal group, this very, very small even percentage of your population. Because let's not forget, all of these folks that are up in arms and there's not fair representation of gay people in Star Wars and there's not fair representation of gay people in society, blah, blah, blah. You're 1% of the world's population. That theoretically means that I shouldn't have to go more than 5 miles with seeing a single one of you. And yet I'm supposed to turn on my TV show, and every single TV show has to have at least one gay person. Preferably two, because then it can be primetime male makeout session, which was like ABC's big thing for all of last year. Do you know how many shows I stopped watching just because of that? And it wasn't just that. I got tired of, at 8 o'clock at night, and I have a teenager that I'm trying to watch TV with, and everything that you see is either a guy getting naked with another guy, a girl getting naked with another girl, or even a guy getting naked with a girl. Nobody needs to see that all the time. But that's all we want to hear about. Let me just be completely honest with everybody here. My issue with homosexuality is not that Steve and Adam want to get married. That's not my problem. My problem with homosexuality, and the reason why I think it is frowned upon in the Bible, is because the Bible tries to teach us to get away from our flesh. By focusing on just that one aspect, you are destroying everything else that could possibly be good in your life because you are so wrapped up in what feels good for the moment. And that goes whether you're gay, straight, purple with pink polka dots. If you're too busy focusing on chasing the next thing that's going to make you feel good, then you're going to miss everything else. And that's why all of us out here in the real world are looking at this going, look, I don't care what you want to do behind closed doors, and I really don't care whom you wish to do it with. I just don't want to hear about it. So how are we the bad guys when these guys are wanting to bring over a ton of people that would rather kill you as to look at you? But I'll continue to be the racist bigot. That's okay.
Worker rights will be at risk. Social Security, which Republicans call a Ponzi scheme.
That's because it is a Ponzi scheme. It has been a Ponzi scheme since the moment it was invented, and nobody was paying attention. The original concept of Social Security and the idea that everybody bought into was that they were going to be putting money back for their future, and it was going to be placed into an account that the government couldn't touch until they had to get into it for the people that needed it. That has never been what Social Security did. It's not how it works. So guess what, folks? It is a Ponzi scheme. It was the original Ponzi scheme. Every other Ponzi scheme that's come up since that has been modeled after the same concept. You take the money from the people that give it to you first, and you pass it along to the people that give it to you later to get them to give you more money, because then all of a sudden they feel like they're getting a boatload of cash because they're giving you their little buy-in, and within a couple of weeks they're seeing $500, and all of a sudden they're handing you even more money. Well, what can you do with this if you already made my $20 into $500? And then that next round didn't go so good, because guess what? Your $500 got divided up and handed to the next 20 schmucks that thought this was a great idea. But no, Social Security, no, it's not a Ponzi scheme. Nothing to see here, folks. Move along.
May face privatization. Our vets may see the VA hospital that needs to be improved and made better for them turned over to privatization.
Okay, so the vets may see the VA hospital that needs to be improved and made better for them turned over to privatization. Last I checked, your side's been running the VA hospital now for about almost 8 years. How's that been working out for everybody? Go back and listen to the archive shows. I've had a gentleman from Invincible Vets come onto the show and talk about how bad it is at the VA. It's so bad that he and other folks like him are starting even more groups to try to combat just how bad the VA actually is. So, would privatization necessarily be a bad thing? Can we at least try it in a few of the hospitals and see how it works? That's the thing. We used to innovate. We don't anymore. When something was broken, we found a way to fix it. Now we just bitch, moan, and complain until somebody else comes along and throws more money at it, and then that's all supposed to make it better.
Planned Parenthood will be defunded. The list.
Is that such a bad thing that Planned Parenthood get defunded? Has anybody been keeping up with the news stories about Planned Parenthood from last year? I'm sorry, I kind of think they deserve to lose a lot of their funding because, again, going back to what we talked about a moment ago, my side thinks that abortion should be allowed, but safe, legal, and rare. Planned Parenthood is about like 7-Eleven. You can't go around the corner without finding one. And most of the services that they tell you they offer on their websites, do a little research of your own. Call a few of them. I have. Most of them don't offer things like mammograms and pap smears and everything else that everyone seems to think that they offer. They're there for pretty much one reason and one reason only. Now, bear in mind, this is the same group that doesn't like it when animals are placed in a shelter and killed, but it's okay to terminate unborn babies. The hypocrisy, it burns.
This goes on because the differences are so stark. You know, everybody says every election's important, and there's truth to that. This is a watershed election.
That is the one thing she said in this entire speech that I completely agree with, and it's also going to be the stopping point. This is a watershed election for America. If we do not find a way to turn this gigantic behemoth of a ship in the right direction, and yes, I emphasize that word for a reason, then we're all going to be watching the end of a nation. I'm pretty sure. I hate to say it like that, but I don't think we can survive another 4 or 8 years with a Democrat in the office because the only thing they care about is furthering their agendas. Now, before anybody starts jumping all over me, I've come to the realization that a lot of our side is exactly the same way. And we'll talk about that a little bit when we come back from the break, along with the major story of the day. For those of you who may not know, the country of North Korea has recently tested yet another nuclear device, and this one had some surprising results. We'll be right back here in just a couple minutes. All right, folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
The wrong way. Welcome to the place.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
All right, guys, we're ready for our Four Seasons sunroom, and Daddy's gonna get a rec room with refreshments.
Oh no, we'll be sleeping under the stars.
Mom, what about the one with, the fun?
Nice try, little bro. It's a gym. My gym.
Hey, Grandma's getting her Four Seasons garden room. Weather tight and still like being outdoors.
Maybe a living room. Oh no, wait, a family hub.
Yeah! No matter what the budget, the season, or the climate, Four Seasons sunrooms let you and your family enjoy the outdoors inside. Call now to receive your free, no-obligation brochure from the premier manufacturer of sunrooms since 1975.
More reasons for Four Seasons now.
To find out more, call toll-free 800-928-7007. That's 800-928-7007. Call 800-928-7007 today.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method, and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry, or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
All right, folks, we are back. We are live. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robbins, and we are into the last part of the show. So before we get out of here for the night, because we are down to just about 20 minutes, I want to go ahead and go into the meat of the show. Again, as we talked about a moment ago, there has been a breaking news story. North Korea has tested a hydrogen bomb. Now I want to play a clip that we were able to recover first, and then I have a breaking story that we'll go over attached with this particular story here.
Our top story this hour, North Korea has carried out its fourth nuclear test via state television this Wednesday morning. Pyongyang confirmed the country's first successful test of a hydrogen bomb. The country's last nuclear test was 3 years ago. The North Korean regime says it would only use the weapon if its sovereignty was violated.
All right, so there's the news story. Now, for those of you who don't know, we do have a fully trained news staff here at K98 Talk on the Spark Radio Network, and what we have done is we sent one of our own to go talk with someone inside the North Korean government to tell us why it was that North Korea had decided to do this recent nuclear test. And some of you may know him. He's Denny C. from The Family Factor. He hosts a morning show here. Well, as soon as he completed the taping, he actually flew out to North Korea, and he was able to get this surprise footage and this very candid footage from a Mr. Kim Jong-un.
Why aren't more people intelligent like me? I'm so lonely, so lonely, so lonely inside real alone. There's no one, just me only, sitting on my little throne. I work very hard and make up great plans, but no so I'm Rory. A little Rory. Pour it on me.
That's right, folks. You heard it here, right here on K98 Talk First. Kim Jong-un announces to the world the reason for his recent nuclear testing is because he's a sad, lonely little man. All right. Sorry, I had to have a little fun with it because, let's face it, this is a very bad time that we live in. So if you don't laugh, what else are you going to do? Because let's look at other things that are going on around the world right now that are pretty similar to this. We now have the Iran deal in full swing. For anyone who thinks that within the near future, Iran won't be exactly where North Korea is, because anybody remember the same kind of deal with Clinton, have to make broker deal Korea, keep them from doing anything crazy with nuclear weapons. Only way to save the world, gotta do it now. And look where we are just a couple decades later. And yet our current leader made the same deal with Iran. And now we have Iran and Saudi Arabia ready to kill each other. I'm telling you, it's pretty scary out there, folks. It's pretty scary indeed. So where do we go from here? I have a prediction that the Republican primary situation is going to get a heck of a lot worse before it gets any better, because nobody's really paying attention to what anybody's saying anymore. As an example, Ann Coulter, God, it hurts to even say her name. Ann Coulter has now basically, through the power of the interwebs, managed to contradict herself rather heavily when it comes to one Mr. Ted Cruz. And this should make you feel really good. Geraldo actually agrees with you, at least your most recent statement. This is just, and this is kind of a compared contrast of the things that we are actually talking about in our media that compared to the things that we should be talking about. North Korea blowing something up, possibly using a hydrogen bomb. Yeah, that should be top of the list. Except our media folks talking about the fact that Ted Cruz was born in Canada, but everybody in the world knows that one of his parents was American, and therefore when you are when one of your parents is American, whether you're born on American soil or not, you are automatically a citizen. But for those of you who may not have known, there was this little known naturalization accord that was done. I believe it was in 1790, where they basically said, and the language was pretty specific, and it said any child born to an American parent was automatically a naturalized citizen of the United States of America. So just so everybody can figure out where all the hoopla is coming from, 5 years later, they reworded that entire entry and they removed the word naturalized. So, of course, everybody that's ever had an iota of law training is now sitting back as an armchair lawyer saying, well, it now says that if you're born to an American parent but you are outside of the United States when you're born, that you're a citizen, but you're not a naturalized citizen, when the Constitution specifically says the president must be a naturalized citizen. And the funny thing is to watch now the left falling all over themselves to ask the right why we're okay with someone who's not a naturalized citizen running as for president when he is a naturalized citizen. Unlike your side, he's actually provided the proof that doesn't look like somebody made it with a crayon. I mean, come on. If you guys actually, look, I'm not a tinfoil hat guy, but let's face it, it's almost midnight on the East Coast, so we're going to put a tinfoil hat on for a minute. Has anybody ever actually looked at the things that they're passing off that are supposed to be his birth certificate? I want to get a look at the actual one, not one that can be digitally altered before it's posted on the internet, because the thing that scares me is if that's a legitimate copy, they didn't use the word African American when he was born. You were white, black, or other. was basically it. We didn't have all the politically correct terms that we have for skin color now. It was white, black, or other. Okay, so that's my tinfoil hat scenario for the moment when it comes to the president. But now, of course, we again have Trump and Ann Coulter all saying, well, you know, it could be pretty interesting if you try to elect Cruz, because then he could be embroiled in court battles for 2, 3, 4 years, and you never know, his presidency might get thrown out. No, because he's a citizen of the country. Why is this hard to understand? I mean, why is it? And this is the part that I don't understand. The guy who keeps telling everybody that he's miles ahead of everybody else in the polls is clinging to the hope that the guy that's his closest competitor can be taken out by a technicality. Doesn't sound like somebody who's very sure that he's actually going to be able to win this thing to me. I'm just throwing that out there. Because it really doesn't sound like that to me. I'm not sure about the rest of you guys, but it doesn't really sound that way to me. All right, so we're going to take things in a little bit different direction for the last part of the show, since this will be the first time that I've been with you guys for a while. Want to give a quick shout out to all the affiliates, whether you listen to us on K98 Talk, our home internet station, through our Spark Radio network, the one that I'm building, or through anywhere like Red State Talk Radio, AMFM247.com, Leading Edge Radio Network, or, of course, WNJC 1360 AM, where this show is heard in Philadelphia every Thursday at 2 Eastern. However you listen to us, I just want to take a moment to say thank you for listening. We hope that 2016 will continue to bring you as much pleasure with you listening to us as 2015 did, and that we continue to not only bring you the entertainment that you desire, but also to continue to grow with you. Now, that being said, there are lots of interesting things in the works. I'm going to put on my general manager's hat for talk for a second. We actually have a new show airing this Saturday. I'll be putting out a release about that probably sometime tomorrow evening. Don't want to try to do it half-heartedly at the moment because I don't have their information in front of me. But they'll be airing every Saturday and for a while also every Sunday. So make sure you check them out. They'll be on Saturdays at 1 Eastern, I think. Hang on, let me do the math real quick. 1 Eastern. No, I'm sorry, 12 Eastern. And then on Sundays, they'll be on right after the... Sorry, folks. My brain is trying to fail me. Like I said, it's been a while since I've done this. Anyway, they'll be on right after Office Hours with Dr. Arrington. So you'll actually get a chance to check them out twice for a while until we get them in, get them situated, get them comfortable. Then we'll figure out which day is working better for them number-wise and let them keep whichever one works. So be on the lookout for that. Also, we are... working toward looking for new sponsors, so that will bring you more information there. Also, first time we've ever done anything like this. If you are interested in helping, we have started a fundraiser. It will run for about 42 more days. The money that anyone donates will actually go towards the day-to-day operating expenses for the Spark Radio Network, so that we can take any spare money that we get from your donations, from you providing your donations, to actually invest in some marketing ideas that we are trying to get off the ground. So if you want to help with that, you can go to... I don't have the link in front of me. I'll put it up on the webpage probably either tomorrow or Friday. At this point, not even sure what I was talking about. All right, sorry. It's been one of those nights, folks. It's been a really long few days. But at this point, I think I'm actually going to go ahead and cut this a little bit short. We're going to go ahead, just because it was awesome, I'm going to close out the show the same way that I started it. For those of you who've been listening live, you have heard this devolve from what was actually a pretty well planned out show into Trainwreck Radio, so for that I do apologize, but we're going to go ahead and end the show pretty much the same way that we started it, and we're going to take the show out with the Third Rail Ramblers. In a minute I'll remember how to talk again. Alright, folks, I will see you when I see you. When the show or when the song concludes, we will roll the outro and the final couple of commercials, and then that will do it for this particular episode. I promise, for those of you listening, next week or tomorrow's will be better. I hope.
Long time ago, I can still remember how that bandwidth used to make me smile. And anything I wished to see, it was just between I and me, without some a-hole up in D.C. crimping my style. But February made me shiver. The FCC on threats delivered. Regulations were adopted. Our freedoms were accosted. I can't remember if I cried when I read of rules we must abide, of legislation that wasn't looked inside, the day the Google died. So bye-bye to the internet, guys. Plugged my PC in with AC, but the bits were all fried. And don't you know the vote passed on party lines, singing we're all watching liberty die. We're all watching liberty die. Do you believe he loved all along a nation he found fundamentally wrong? If the media tells you so. And do you believe in all the tales of Lois Lerner's lost emails, or that Benghazi was caused by a video on YouTube? Well, I know McConnell's a statist tool, and his pale boners and orange fool, between them not was fine. Caving to POTUS every time. Woo, I was an exhausted pauper of middle years, with taxes and bills to drive me to tears, and a commander-in-chief confirming my worst fears. The day the Google died, I started singing bye-bye to the internet, guys. Plugged my PC in with AC, but the bits were all fried. And don't you know the vote passed on party lines, singing we're all watching liberty die. We're all watching liberty die. Now for 6 years we've been on our own. The Constitution's a shredded tome, but that's not how it used to be. When the Beyonce sang for the Emperor, and champagne it ran onto the floor with a price tag paid by you and me. Oh, and while SCOTUS was on its ass, Obamacare was allowed to pass. The chief judge changed the law. A blasphemy we all saw. And while the POTUS read a book on Marx, Brian Williams dodged rockets in the dark, and Bill Clinton flew to Pedo Park the day the Google died. We were singing bye-bye to the internet, guys. I plugged my PC in with AC, but the bits were all fried. And don't you know the vote passed on party lines, singing we're all watching liberty die. We're all watching liberty die. I watched Lady Liberty sing the blues, and I asked her for some happy news, but she just smiled and turned away. I went down to the Apple store where I'd bought my gadgets years before, but the man there said my apps, they wouldn't play. In cyberspace, innovators screamed, the public cried, and the statist dreamed. The Constitution just a token The internet, it was not broken, and the branches I would like to see, they don't include the FCC. Constitution says works for you and me. The day the Google died. So bye-bye to the internet, guys. Plugged my PC in with AC, but the bits were all fried. And don't you know the vote passed on party lines, singing we're all watching liberty die. We're all watching liberty die. We were singing bye-bye to the internet, guys. Plugged my PC in with AC, but the bits were all fried. And don't you know the vote passed on party lines, singing we're all watching liberty die.
Both did everything you earned by breaking your backs. We're gonna redistribute when we make our pay tax. Hey, sit back down.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Later.
Game over, man. It's game over.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com. For Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.